Have hypothyroidism and suffering with all of the symptoms? Maybe you're even on medication and you can't understand why the medication is leaving you with symptoms. After struggling with hypothyroidism for 4 years and all of its nasty symptoms, I was able to start losing weight, 40 pounds so far, and reverse about 90% of my symptoms. So if you're looking for ways that you can start seeing the same results, then you've landed in the right place. Here on my channel, I share simple diet and lifestyle tips for how to get rid of those nasty symptoms that you are so tired of. To make sure that you never miss any of the tips that I share here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Push that notification bell too so that you get notified every time I upload a new video, which is on Thyroid Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would love it too if you want to come hang out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. I'm hanging out there these days as well on a daily basis. So today we're going to talk about why you shouldn't be blaming your thyroid for what your thyroid is doing. Sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? But it's the truth. The truth of the matter is, if you have hypothyroidism or thyroid disease, something else deeper in your body is the issue. It's not your thyroid's fault. Something else is off balance in your body, causing your thyroid to be hypo, to be sluggish. So today we're going to be looking at something called root causes to thyroid disease. Now I want you to go ahead and type the words in the comment below, root cause, because I'm a former teacher and I know that when you take action, you are going to remember something more. So if you write it down or you type it out, your brain is going to actually process that differently and remember it. So type root cause below because I want you to really understand this today. This is going to explain why your thyroid is acting the way it is, and it's going to give you a starting place for where to start healing your body to get symptom relief from hypothyroidism. It's also going to explain to those of you that are on medication and you still have symptoms why the medication isn't helping. It takes more than a pill. You're going to have to address some different areas, different things going on in your body in order for that medication to work better. So today I'm going to be giving you 6 root causes. These are 6 things that get your thyroid off balance and causes you to have symptoms. But I want you to understand too, I don't want you to hate your symptoms. Symptoms are messengers. They're letting you know something else deeper is going on. Something is causing your body to do this. It's an alert. It's like, help me, alert. There's something here that you need to focus on. And so, yes, we want to get rid of your symptoms, but know that they're telling you something and be thankful for that because they're letting you know something needs to be fixed in your body. Okay, so let's jump into these things that go deeper in thyroid disease that are causing your thyroid to act the way it is. And the first thing is autoimmune diseases. So you can have other autoimmune diseases. In fact, when you have one autoimmune disease, it is much easier for your body to then develop another and another and another. You want to check for 3 main autoimmune diseases going on in your body if you have thyroid disease. The first one is Hashimotos. Hashimotos is not the same as hypothyroidism, although 90% of people with hypothyroidism have Hashimotos. Hashimotos is actually when your body, your immune system, attacks your thyroid gland. And then it's going to mess with the production of your thyroid hormone because your thyroid is going to struggle to make hormones when it's under attack and being permanently damaged. Once that damage gets bad enough, you're going to require medication for the rest of your life. So it's really important that you get checked for Hashimoto's. So how do you do that? A lot of times doctors do not run the proper testing for hypothyroidism. I will link below this video a blog post about that. It's going to explain to you why that happens. It's going to explain to you which tests you want to request and push for. And it's going to show you if you can't get those tests, what to do in order to order them on your own online to see for yourself. That's actually what I do. I bypass my doctor. It's my blood. I'm allowed to test it. You simply go online, you order the test, then you print out an order for that, and you go to a local draw center where they draw blood all day long. That's like what they do. And you have your blood drawn, and within about a week, you're going to have the results emailed to you. Most doctors only test your TSH and T4, but you actually want to have a full thyroid panel done, which includes 2 antibodies, TPO and anti-TPO. Those 2 are going to tell you if you have Hashimoto's or not. In that blog post that I link below in the description of this video, you're going to be able to read those tests and know if you have Hashimoto's or not. I show you how to do that. And I'll also link a video that I did showing you how I ordered my test and what it looked like when I went to the draw center to take some of that fear out in case you do want to order your own test. Number 2, you want to check for Graves' disease. That is hyperthyroidism, so that's an overactive thyroid. I don't have any experience with that, but it is something that you're going to want to check into. And I only speak on things that I have personal experience with. My husband, my daughter, and myself all have Hashimotos and hypothyroidism, so I have a lot of experience with that. And I don't want to give you any information that's incorrect for Graves' disease, but know that you need to check for that as well. And then number 3 was something that happened in my case, which is celiac disease. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease where when you consume gluten, your body attacks your intestines. And then that leads to things like thyroid disease and not absorbing your nutrients. And later down the line, it can even lead to things like cancer. So I always recommend that people get tested for celiac disease because it is a highly underdiagnosed disease that a lot of people are walking around with and they just don't know. And the good news about celiac disease is all you have to do is avoid gluten, which I'm going to say that you need to do anyway if you have Hashimotos or hypothyroidism. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but gluten's highly inflammatory, does a lot of damage to your body. So that is one of the ways I'm going to tell you to start healing your body, whether you're on medication or not. If you want to get rid of these symptoms, you're going to have to commit to changing your diet. Gluten's got to go. And don't get all sad and say, oh, I'm never going to eat anything good again. I live a gluten-free lifestyle. I'm not missing out on yummy food. Let me tell you what, I need to stop eating so much yummy food. You're not going to die. It's not the end of the world. There's plenty of yummy food. And if you get rid of symptoms, you're not going to miss it. And with celiac disease, people tend to think, oh, well, I don't have any issues with gluten because, my stomach doesn't hurt. I don't have any kind of issues like that. I was something called a silent celiac. I didn't have those issues either. I had a bout of IBS years and years ago after I had my daughter. I fixed that with good supplements and just figuring out my food triggers. Never figured out that it was gluten, however. Never would have thought of that. I didn't have all of those symptoms, but I developed thyroid disease, which is a symptom of having celiac disease because I wasn't absorbing my nutrients. So it is very important to rule out celiac disease. The number 2 root cause, nutritional deficiency, so vitamin and mineral deficiencies. If you are low on vitamin D or iron alone, that can cause you to be hypothyroid. If you're low on something like iodine, which is crucial for thyroid hormone production, it's going to interfere with the function of your thyroid. You also want to be looking at things like zinc, selenium. There are several vitamins and minerals that you're going to want to look into. And I'll include a blog post below this video that walks you through learning which ones you want to have tested, because this is how you're going to know if you're truly deficient in these nutritional deficiencies. You need to do a blood test and you need to know which levels are optimal and not just in that normal range. A lot of times doctors will tell you your thyroid is normal or your vitamin D is normal, and that's because it falls in this giant range where they say, oh, everybody feels good in this range. But you want an optimal range where everybody feels good in this tiny range. Not the people over here who are sick, not the people over here who are sick, but the people here who feel really good. I'll give you one example of myself. I was told that my vitamin D levels were fine when they were at a 30, when actually women feel their best when their vitamin D levels are at 100. So as you can see, even though you can be told that your levels are fine, you can still have a deficiency. So below this video, I'm going to link a blog post that's going to walk you through knowing how to read your test. You always want to request a copy of your blood test results when you go to the doctor, or you can order them yourself. I'll cover all of that in the blog post below. On the other hand, you don't want to be supplementing something you have a lot of. So for example, selenium is super important for your thyroid. It helps to convert T4 to T3. So it helps convert your inactive thyroid hormone to the active one that actually helps you lose weight, helps you to feel good, helps you to have energy. And so you want to make sure your selenium levels are where they need to be or low. But in my case, I also have something called MTHFR, which a lot of people do with hypothyroidism. And I'll have a video soon coming about that. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and make sure you get on my email list. It's a free Thyroid Overcomers email list where I just notify you when I post a new blog post or a new video. I give you tips every Thyroid Thursday in your inbox. You can get on that below this video, there'll be a link. So because I have MTHFR, my selenium was actually very, very high. Since my body doesn't detox properly, it was not processing selenium as it should. Had I went ahead and started just blindly supplementing selenium, I would have caused more inflammation in my body. So I always tell people, test, don't guess. Test your blood, test your body. Know exactly what you need to supplement. Then you're going to go find high quality supplements and supplement only the things that you absolutely need, and make sure you're getting those things in your diet as well. I'll have more videos about supplements for hypothyroidism coming soon. And if I've already done them, they'll be below this video, linked in the description, and I'll stick a card up here. If they're not there yet, it means I just haven't finished the video yet. And by the way, if you want really in-depth, step-by-step, like a blueprint for how to do all of this stuff, because I'm going to be going into more root causes here, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that I'm going to have coming your way here. It might sound a little bit overwhelming for you. I want to go ahead and let you know that I do have group coaching available in a Facebook group, and that is where I am taking a small group and walking them through all of this, all of the steps that I took to heal my body, that I helped my husband to do the same. I lost 40, he lost 80 pounds. You know how men are, they always lose more weight. And we've reversed about 90% of our symptoms. So we have a lot of people wanting to know exactly how we did it. I can only give you general information here. If you want to go deeper and you really want a blueprint and a step-by-step guide and a place where you can come and ask your questions and get them answered by me and by a community of people who are actually doing the same thing you are. They're working to overcome this disease and they're working to reverse their symptoms, then below this video, I'm going to have a link to my Facebook group. Now, that's not going to be open all the time. Depending on when you watch this video, there may be a wait list. Get on the wait list if you have to. I'm only going to be opening the group a few times a year. So you want to be sure to claim a spot if it is open. And if it isn't, you want to be sure and get on that wait list so that as soon as it is available, you'll be able to then get into that group and start going to town at really digging deep and starting to make the changes in your life necessary to finally get relief from these symptoms. Because I know what it's like to feel fat, frustrated, and fatigued. That's what my husband and I say all the time. We were fat, frustrated, and fatigued, and we're back to being ourselves now. And I've never been happier about that. So you always want to, going back to the point, test and not guess. You want to know exactly what your body needs, and then you want to give it what it needs, and it's going to thank you for that. It's going to start healing. It's going to start functioning better. The number 3 root cause of thyroid disease again goes back to food, and that is digestive issues. The number 1 leading cause of thyroid disease is something called leaky gut. Leaky gut happens when you're consuming things that are inflammatory to your gut, like gluten. It actually makes holes in the walls of your intestines that allow toxins and even things like gluten to permeate through your intestines and go into your bloodstream, which then causes tons of inflammation system-wide in your body. And inflammation is at the root of disease. So when you have leaky gut, you have inflammation, and then you have thyroid disease. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing a lot of sharing about here and in depth in my Facebook group is what kind of diet you can adapt in order to heal your leaky gut, how to then seal it up to make sure that all of those holes are closed, and how to make sure that that doesn't happen to you again. So when I get those videos done, I'll link them here. Those will be like a general overview of all of that. But if you want to go deep into the best kind of diet for hypothyroidism and meals, what can you eat? How can you not, feel like you are denying yourself things? How can you stay motivated to stay on a diet like that? That information's, again, going to be in my Facebook group. So make sure to get on that waiting list or get in the group now. The number 4 root cause, again, goes back to food, because listen, friends, food is either poison or it's healing you, okay? So you've got to be mindful when you have autoimmune disease in general, but especially thyroid disease, of what you're putting into your body. Food is going to make or break whether you feel better and recover from this disease or not. And I know that it can be hard, but you've got to focus on what you can have and what your end goal is, and that's getting your life back. Losing weight, feeling good again, not having brain fog, having the energy for your life and your kids and your family again. So food sensitivities are a root cause. Food sensitivities are when your body reacts to a certain food and it causes, again, inflammation in your body. Now, the same foods that cause me issues may not cause you issues. Every person, every body is different. That is why I recommend an anti-inflammatory elimination diet so that you remove for a period of time all of the foods inflaming your body, and yes, you will still have things to eat. You allow your body some time to heal, and then you can start reintroducing foods one at a time, very slowly, healthy foods. And let me preface that. They gotta be healthy. You don't want to be putting the bad junk in there again ever. But you're gonna start reintroducing different foods one at a time, and you're going to then watch for symptoms of food sensitivities, and you're going to keep a food journal, which I will link below an example for you. You're gonna keep a food journal to know exactly what foods you ate and how you felt after you ate them, because a lot of times people think that a food sensitivity means you get an upset stomach or you have diarrhea or things like that. In all actuality, it can be a runny nose, it can be you get a migraine, it can be joint pain 3 days later. You will notice a pattern when you track your food and when you slowly add in foods. You'll know exactly what foods bother you and what foods don't. And that's going to empower you with being able to make the choice for what's going to get rid of the inflammation causing the issues in your body. Knowing this kind of stuff is such a powerful way for you to start taking control over this disease. And then you'll be able to simply avoid those foods and start seeing results right away. Number 5 on our root causes is stress. Now, I know what you're gonna say, but I have a stressful life. How am I supposed to not be stressed? I used to get stressed when people told me to deal with my stress. Do you ever do that? Am I alone in this? I get stressed thinking about my stress. It's a vicious cycle, but I have learned some techniques. We are not designed to deal with chronic stress. We are designed to deal with acute stress. So little bouts of stress, short stretches of time with stress. Chronic stress really wreaks havoc on our bodies. It causes our adrenal glands to become stressed, and your adrenal glands put out something called cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which is good when you got to run from a bear. It's your fight, flight, or freeze hormone. It helps you to make a quick decision. But when we constantly pump that out, it then starts to affect the body. You start getting symptoms just from that, but then that will lead to thyroid disease. And the adrenals and the thyroid work together to regulate and control your endocrine system. So when those get out of whack, you start getting the nasty symptoms that you're probably suffering with if you're watching this video. We live in one of the most, I think it is the most stressed time in history. I don't ever remember people being as stressed as they are right now. I have a lot of thoughts about that. Maybe I'll do a video about that sometime soon, but there's just a lot of stress going around. So what can you do about it? You're gonna want to, and I'll be doing future videos about this. Again, I'll link them below when I get them done. But you've got to learn some techniques for dealing with your stress. You've got to learn some self-care things you can do. You've got to learn to be able to say no to people and how to set up boundaries. You've got to learn what kind of supplements can help you with high cortisol. How do you even know if you have high or low cortisol? How to test for all of that, which I do have a video in specific coming about how to test it and how to treat it with supplements and different lifestyle things that you can do. So once that is up, it'll be here below this video, and make sure to get on my email list so that you don't miss that video. But I'm going to give you some basic information to get you started here, because your cortisol is very important, especially if you're taking certain kinds of thyroid medication. That is something you definitely want to be looking at. Anybody with thyroid disease needs to be looking at their cortisol and their adrenals. And last of all, number 6, our last root cause, and that is toxic overload. Our livers are super important for your thyroid health because it is where you convert, again, your T4 to T3. So your inactive thyroid hormone to your active thyroid hormone. I say your crude oil to your gasoline. You can't put crude oil in your car and make it go. It's got to be converted to gasoline. Well, your T4 has to convert to T3, your gasoline. That happens in your liver. Here's the issue though. If you're surrounded by toxins, you're clogging up your liver, and your liver is then not able to do that conversion, and voila, you're hypo. And when I say toxins, I'm talking about cleaners in your home, personal care products, candles, things you wash your clothes with, your makeup, your skincare, your deodorant, your shampoo, your conditioner. All of that stuff is loaded with toxic chemicals. Now, our livers are able to filter out some toxins. That's what it's for. But when it gets overloaded, it starts to store those toxins in the liver. And then your body also starts to store them as fat, by the way. So that's why you start getting inflamed and you start having more weight gain. So we want to first remove the toxic chemicals, and you want to get products that are really good, that work just as well, that aren't greenwashed. Because a lot of products will fool you. They're going to say that they're clean and green, and actually they rate very high on the toxicity scale. So you need somebody to help guide you through that. I'll be doing that again in my Facebook group. We're going to be walking through all of that, what alternatives are good to use, what companies can you trust, things like that. So the first step is going to be eliminating all of those toxins from your home. Then you want to be looking at the chemicals that are in your food. That's right. If you're eating food that isn't organic, you're putting different kinds of toxins in your body that way. So you want to ditch the toxic chemicals and the products we talked about. You want to ditch all of the pesticides and things that are in your food. You want to be switching over to better alternatives. So that's why I call this the ditch and switch. I have a video coming about all of the things that I ditched and switched, because it also includes things like what kind of stuff you're eating and drinking from, even the things that you cook with. Your pots and pans can have hidden toxins in them that you're going to want to switch out as well. There are lots of things you need to look at in your home at ditching and switching. So I do have some information in a video coming about that. I'll link it below and do a card. If it's not there, then that just means I haven't done the video yet. But I will also link below a section on my website where I talk about this and I give you some alternatives and show you what I use in each of these areas in my home. And then if you would like to really go in depth on being able to see everything that I switched out in my home and how I did it on a budget and how I did it a little at a time, that will be covered in my Facebook group as well. But I will link below for you some information that will get you started now, because I don't want that to seem overwhelming to you. And I know that you can seem like you don't know where you don't know where to start. Everything is overwhelming. This is too much information. That's why I offer the Facebook group. But it's also, you need to just take these things one at a time, because I have already done some things to show you about how to ditch and switch. So that's super important. The other part that you're going to want to also do for your liver is to love on your liver. You're going to want to give it certain foods to help it to function better, that are going to boost your liver. There are certain superfoods for your liver that are going to make your liver thank you. And then you can implement certain supplements that are high quality, that have been shown to really clear out those toxins from your liver, open up your pathways, let everything start draining out, and keep your liver functioning optimally so that you're feeling better and your thyroid hormones are actually converting the way that they should. So toxic overload is something I'm going to be hitting hard here on the channel. Just make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I know that I probably covered a lot here today with you, and you're probably like, this information is great. What do I do with it? Well, this is going to set the foundation, first of all, for you to understand why I'm going to point you in the direction that I'm pointing you to, why I'm going to tell you to do certain things. Because when you have that knowledge, I'm a why person. I'm hoping you are too, that you want to know why somebody gives you a suggestion or tells you to do something. And I want you to understand that there's a method to my madness, okay? And that these root causes are the basis of what you need to address in order to get symptom relief from hypothyroidism and to start feeling better. So if you can understand where your starting point is, that gives you a good idea to know where you're going to be focusing your attention. I don't ever want anybody to feel alone or like you don't know where to start or that you're frustrated or overwhelmed. So if you would like to get into my Facebook group, check the link below this video in the description. Click that link. If there are spots available, you need to go ahead and get into the group, because it will close down once those spots fill up. If there is a waiting list, don't worry. You'll be first to get notified when that list opens back up. I don't start telling people on social media and things about it until I offer that to the people on my email list first for that. So make sure that you get on that. You can also, another option for you is you can apply for one-on-one coaching with me. I have very limited spots for that just because of time constraints for me. But if you would like to apply to get a spot for that, there will also be a link there. That way you can personally work with me. We can take a look at your history. We can take a look at everything you're personally doing, and we can troubleshoot things together. And I can also help you with the mindset part, because a whole lot of what you're going to be doing is shifting your mind from thinking about foods that you can't have to foods that you can have. The overwhelm of switching out toxic products to better options. You're going to be, getting step-by-step help with everything. Question of the day. Have you ever heard of a root cause before? If today was your first time hearing about it, let me know what your biggest takeaway today was. What was your biggest aha moment? And if you've heard about it before, let me know how you discovered root cause. So what are your next steps? I bet you're thinking. You are going to take a look at the screen right now and you're going to see my picture floating around in that circle right there. Click on that. If you have not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Then check out the playlist and other videos I've linked for you. I think you're going to enjoy that information. It's going to be useful to you. And I will see you on the next Thyroid Thursday.